You probably know Sydney Sweeney, the actress. But you don't know Sydney Sweeney, the CEO. While you were watching her on screen, she was quietly building a $40 million business. Today, we're pulling back the curtain to reveal the financial machine behind the fame. We're not talking about gossip. We're talking about business strategy, asset management, and the ownership moves that are creating her empire. This is the financial case study of how modern stars are building real wealth. An investor pitch at age 12. Our story begins not on a red carpet, but in Spokane, Washington, with a 12-year-old girl and an investor deck. To convince her parents to let her chase an acting career, she didn't just beg or plead. She created a formal, 5-year business plan and presented it to them via PowerPoint. This wasn't a cute childhood antic. It was her first board meeting. Her parents became her first venture capitalists. They took an astronomical risk, selling their home, relocating, living in a cramped motel room for a time, and ultimately facing the financial devastation of bankruptcy and divorce. Imagine the suffocating pressure in that small motel room. Every failed audition wasn't just a rejection. It was a painful reminder of the house that was sold, of the financial cliff her family was teetering on. This wasn't a hobby. It was a high-stakes bet where the collateral was her family's entire life. This pressure cooker environment forged a mindset focused not just on art, but on delivering a return. Think about the weight of that choice. Your family sacrifices everything based on your childhood business plan. How would that pressure shape your ambition and your relationship with money for the rest of your life? Let me know your thoughts down below. Building the core asset. The bet against all odds finally pays off big time. Years of grinding led to her breakout role as Cassie Howard in Euphoria, and with the explosion of Euphoria, she became a global star. By season 2 of Euphoria, she was reportedly commanding $350,000 per episode. Now, think of that salary not as a paycheck, but as a cash cannon firing money at her. It looks like an unstoppable force. But here's the reality nobody talks about. That cash cannon has massive leaks. 10% gets diverted to her agent, 10% to her manager, 5% to her lawyer. And then comes the biggest leak of all, the IRS, taking nearly half of what's left. By the time the money actually hits her account, it's a fraction of the headline number. More importantly, Sweeney understood the critical flaw in this model. It's all active income. The cannon only fires when she is working. An acting career can slow down. Public taste can change. The cannon can stop. True wealth isn't the cash being fired from the cannon. It's building something permanent that holds its value, even when the firing stops. Her acting career wasn't the end goal. It was the engine. And its primary job wasn't just to make cash, it was to manufacture the crown jewel of her portfolio, a massively valuable, intangible asset called the brand. Leveraging the asset. With the primary asset, her brand, now established and appreciating in value, a savvy asset manager begins to leverage it. This is how you generate liquidity. She began licensing the brand Sweeney to other companies through lucrative endorsements. Her partnership with American Eagle was a masterstroke. She didn't just model jeans, she licensed her brand's unique blend of confidence and relatability to a corporation that needed to connect with Gen Z. The online debates it sparked only gave the campaign millions in earned media, free advertising. But the most audacious play was the bathwater campaign. This was a high-risk, high-return bet on an unconventional marketing strategy. She didn't sell her bath water, she hijacked an existing internet meme to create a viral moment for a skincare brand. It was pure guerrilla marketing. The campaign cost next to nothing but yielded an explosion of global attention, proving her team's deep understanding of the attention economy. They weren't just participating in culture, they were manipulating it for profit. Risk management and the response. Every good asset manager knows that success isn't just about chasing upside, it's about aggressively managing downside risk. And in 2022, the portfolio of Sydney Sweeney faced its first major stress test. During her mother's 60th birthday party, photos posted online showed guests with politically charged paraphernalia. The internet predictably erupted. The situation became a viral firestorm, threatening to inflict catastrophic damage on her carefully curated brand. For a celebrity, public perception is their most volatile asset. A single out-of-context photo can trigger a market crash, causing brand partners, the shareholders, to lose confidence and pull their investments. So, what was her move? She engaged in immediate crisis management. Instead of issuing a lengthy, lawyer-approved apology, she executed a swift, direct counteroffensive. She tweeted, "An innocent celebration for my mom's milestone 60th birthday has turned into an absurd political statement. Please stop making assumptions." This wasn't just a tweet, it was a strategic intervention. Think of it as a CEO stepping in with a firm press release to stop a stock from free-falling. She didn't apologize, she reframed. She took control of the narrative, labeling the backlash as absurd and assumptions. This action did two things. It halted the panic. It gave her supporters and neutral parties a clear counter-narrative to latch onto. It signaled strength to her investors. Brands like Mio Mio and Laneige saw an asset that wouldn't crumble under pressure, but would actively defend its value. By containing the narrative, she prevented a short-term PR crisis from turning into a long-term brand equity disaster. It was a stark reminder that when your reputation is your business, you are exposed to risks far beyond your control, and your response time is everything. If you are enjoying this video, like and subscribe. Pretty please. The alpha move, from labor to capital. With cash flow pouring in from acting and endorsements, Sydney Sweeney understood a critical risk. She was still trading her time for money. To truly build wealth, you have to make your money work for you. So, she made the ultimate alpha move of a sophisticated asset manager. She used the profits from her primary asset, her brand, to acquire a new, more powerful, income-producing asset. In 2020, she founded 50/50 Films. This wasn't a vanity project. This was a strategic pivot from labor to capital. This was the moment she stopped just being the five-star chef and started owning the entire restaurant empire. Her company co-produced the global smash hit Anyone But You. On a lean budget of just $25 million, that film exploded, grossing over $219 million at the global box office. That's nearly a 9x return before marketing costs. Let's break down the genius of this move. From this single, wildly profitable project, she created two distinct income streams. Stream 1, the actor's salary. This is her active income. She shows up, she performs, she gets a huge check. This pays the bills. Stream 2, the producer's cut. This is her capital income. As a producer, she owns a piece of the intellectual property, the asset itself. This means she gets a cut of everything. The box office gross, the Netflix streaming deal, the international licensing rights, the in-flight entertainment sales, forever. The acting job was a transaction. The production credit is a dynasty-building machine. This is the fundamental move that separates the temporarily rich from the permanently wealthy. The $40 million paradox. This brings us back to the central paradox. A portfolio valued at an estimated $40 million. A hit-making production company. A-list status. And yet, she speaks openly about feeling financially insecure. This isn't a contradiction. It's a masterclass in the crucial financial lesson that net worth does not equal cash flow. To understand her situation, we need to separate her financial life into two distinct parts. Part 1 is her on-paper wealth. This is the $40 million figure. It's a valuation of her total assets, primarily long-term investments that are difficult to spend. Think of it like owning a valuable factory. The factory itself is worth millions, but you can't use a brick from the wall to buy groceries. Her real estate, and most importantly, Her production company are her factories. They are designed to generate value over decades, not provide immediate cash. Part 2 is her real-world cash flow. This is the money moving in and out of her bank account each month. Here, the picture is completely different. The outflow: she has the fixed monthly expenses of a corporation, mortgages, a full staff on payroll, security, insurance, and brand maintenance. These bills are guaranteed to arrive every 30 days. The inflow, her income, however, is not guaranteed. It arrives in large, infrequent chunks when she lands an acting role or a production closes a deal. This is the source of the anxiety. She has to manage the high, consistent costs of a major enterprise using the inconsistent, project-based income of an artist. A delay between projects, a movie that gets pushed, or an industry-wide strike could immediately threaten her ability to cover her massive operational costs, regardless of how valuable her factories are. She owns a castle, but her fear isn't that the castle will fall, it's the fear of being unable to pay the army required to guard it every single month. In the end, Sydney Sweeney's story isn't just about Hollywood. It's a lesson for every one of us. You may not have a production company, but you are the CEO of your own career. Your skills, your reputation, your network, that is your portfolio. Her journey is a masterclass in managing that portfolio, using your labor to build your brand equity, leveraging that brand for cash flow, and relentlessly pushing from being paid for your time to owning your output. She shows us that true financial security doesn't come from a big paycheck. It comes from building a resilient reservoir of assets that can sustain you when the river of active income inevitably slows down. Her story forces us all to ask a powerful question: are you just working in your career, or are you actively building it as an asset? The answer to that question will define your financial future. If this deep dive gave you a new way to think about wealth, please consider liking the video and subscribe to the channel. We break down the financial playbooks of the world's most successful people and companies every week. Now I want to hear from you. After hearing this breakdown, what's the single most important lesson you're taking away from the business of Sydney Sweeney? Let me know in the comments.